And focus. Sweet. So last week I told a story about one of my kind of tree planting adventures when I was working in forestry. But one of the other kind of weird things on my resume that usually tends to surprise people is I actually used to be a pastor. So that's neat. So I think I was like 23, so this is like 8 years ago. We went to Indonesia. We went to Papua, Indonesia, and we brought a doctor with us, and we were there to like help build an airstrip for this tribe in Papua that wanted contact with the outside world and wanted medical supplies and the ability to move a little quicker than walking for like 2 days. So there was a whole complicated string of travel involved in this. We had to take a helicopter. We had to do like I think it was a like 12 and a half, 13-hour hike just up and down in the mountain range. And then at one point we had to take a plane, and which is fine. I am absolutely terrified of flying, but you just get through it, right? Like you kind of figure out your coping mechanisms and how you deal with it, and you just keep trusting in the kind of solidity of commercial travel. So that's kind of how I mostly get through my fear of flying. Now, I was like the official videographer of this trip. It was my job to capture everything, and they didn't really need the highest quality, but I myself was trying to be Kubrick about the whole thing and get just the right angles and get in there to make sure everything's just perfect. So that also meant that I had to document, like I was always the second trip if they couldn't fit all of us on like either a helicopter or a plane, because I had to get shots of it, right? So that's fair, that makes sense, good, grand. But where I really ended up borderline shitting my pants was one of the jaunts that we had to take. We'd finished our hike and we'd arrived at this really high up location. You look out and there's just mountains everywhere, and it's absolutely beautiful. But the runway's a little short. The runway's a tiny bit too short. So I didn't know this at the time. I was informed when we arrived. Most of the lift generated for this plane was actually generated during a fall. So essentially what happens is, this is my phone, this is a runway. Runway is this long, runway should be this long. So they take the plane and they go, and then they fucking drop. And that's how you generate enough lift to actually get going. So I wasn't entirely sure how this was going to work, and I'm terrified of flying, as I've said. And I've got the camera up to my eye, and I'm just tracking that plane the whole way along, and then it just disappears. And I mean, like straight down, it's gone. And I'm just like, oh, my friends are dead now. They're dead. That's what's happened here. And you watch, and it's just like plane is still completely visible by the time it leaves the runway, but you just watch it leave, and then it's gone. And you wait like probably 30 seconds to almost a full minute before you see it, just a speck in the distance as it like comes back up over the crest. And I think that's probably one of the scariest moments of my life, because then I filmed it from the inside, and since I was the videographer, I filmed it from the front seat, and I honestly could have happily just died right before it happened, because that is probably one of the scariest moments of my life. So now you know that. That one's less exciting than my last story, and they probably progressively will be. Who tells their worst stories first? Anyway, yeah, I'm still doing the whole, one day I'll make focused videos. But until then, I'm just going to keep telling stories, so have that.